Hello, welcome to Biography TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Biography of Jean-Bédel Bokassa. Jean-Bédel Bokassa, also known as Bokassa I, was a Central African political and military leader who served as the second president of the Central African Republic. He was born on the 22nd of February 1921 as one of the 12 children of Mindogon Bokassa, who was a village chief. His mother's name was Mary Yokowo, and together they all lived in Bobangui, a large Mbaka village in the Lobaye Basin located at the edge of the equatorial forest, which was a part of colonial French Equatorial Africa. Bokassa's father, Mindogon, made the people of his village work for the French Forestier Company until he heard of the efforts of a prophet, Kanu, who resisted French rule and forced labor. Inspired, Mindogon then decided that he would no longer follow French orders. He released some of his fellow villagers who were held hostage by the Forestier. The company considered this to be a rebellious act and detained him, bound him in chains, and took him to Mbaiki, the capital of Lobaye, one of the 14 prefectures of the Central African Republic. He was later beaten to death on the 13th of November 1927 at the town square, just outside the prefecture office. Bokassa's mother, unable to bear the grief of losing her husband, committed suicide a week after. Having lost both parents, Bokassa's extended family took care of him and his siblings and decided that Bokassa would receive a French language education at the École Saint-Jean d'Arc, a Christian mission school in Mbaiki. As a pupil, he was fond of a French grammar book by an author, Jean-Bédel. This made his teachers call him by the author's name, and Jean-Bédel stuck as part of Bokassa's name. Later in his teenage years, Bokassa studied at École Saint-Louis in Bangui under Father Gruner, who educated him with the intention of making him a priest. Father Gruner later realized that Bokassa wasn't interested in the priesthood. Bokassa then moved on to study at Father Comte's school in Brazzaville, the capital and largest city of the Republic of Congo. After graduating in 1939, Bokassa heeded the advice of his grandfather, Mbalanga, and Father Gruner by joining the French colonial troops as a tirailleur on the 19th of May 1939. While serving in the 2nd Battalion de Marche, Bokassa became a corporal in July 1940 and a sergeant major in November 1941. After the occupation of France by Nazi Germany, Bokassa served with an African unit of the Free French Forces and took part in the capture of the Vichy government's capital at Brazzaville. On the 15th of August 1944, he participated in the Allied forces landing in Provence, France. He also fought in southern France and Germany in early 1945 before Nazi Germany was toppled. Bokassa remained in the French army after the war, studying radio transmissions at an army camp in the French coastal town of Fréjus. When he returned to France, he was stationed at Fréjus, where he taught radio transmissions to African recruits. He got promoted to second lieutenant in 1956 and 2 years later to lieutenant. In December 1958, he was stationed as a military technical assistant in Brazzaville, and in 1959, he was posted back to his homeland in Bangui. On the 1st of July 1962, he was promoted to the rank of captain. At the time, the French colony of Ubangishari, part of French Equatorial Africa, had become an independent nation, the Central African Republic. Bokassa left the French army and joined the Central African Armed Forces. Being a cousin of the country's president, David Dacko, and nephew of Dacko's predecessor, Barthélemy Boganda, Bokassa was trusted with the responsibility of creating the Central African Republic's military. About a year after, he became the commander-in-chief of the Central African Army. His experience in the French military, together with his relationship with Dacko, fostered his rise through the ranks of the new National Army. He became the first colonel of the Central African Army on the 1st of December 1964. Bokassa often appeared in public wearing all his military decorations and as often as he could sat next to President Dako to show off his status in the Central African Republic's government. Many members of Dako's cabinet saw him as a threat to the government and never trusted him. In 1965, Dako sent Bokassa to Paris as part of the country's delegation for the Bastille Day celebrations. After the celebrations, Bokassa was denied entry to the Central African Republic, following orders from Dako, who also began to see him as a threat to his regime. Bokassa spent some months pleading with dignitaries from the French and Central African Armed Forces to convince Dako to reconsider his decision. Dako then allowed Bokassa back. Tensions rose between Dako and Bokassa after the latter's return to the country, and Dako took many steps to frustrate him. On the 31st of December 1965, Bokassa carried out a successful coup d'etat to depose Dako. He then became the president of the Central African Republic. His tenure lasted from the 1st of January 1966 to the 4th of December 1976, but not without many trials and numerous scandals. He was also imprisoned, sentenced to death, pardoned, and even exiled. Bokassa was initially married to a Vietnamese, Nguyen Thai Hue. They had a daughter who he registered as a French citizen. At the time of his death, Bokassa had 17 wives and 50 children. He died of a heart attack on the 3rd of November 1996 at his home in Bangui, having suffered failing health for some years. What have we missed out of this biography of Bokassa? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.